Since it's so early in the level and this fight is likely to be nasty, I am definitely inclined to haste. One thing I could do too is just go ahead and make a kill hole and 1v1 the Orb of Fire with Might and Haste. Given that I've got Borg's Reviv and other stuff like that. Okay. Let's go ahead and resist. And do a dig. Only thing I want to make sure about this is that yeah, I don't really want to leave the moth like just as an sitting out there, because there's definitely going to be more stuff coming around along with the Orb of Fire, like mostly Draconians probably, but who knows what else. Okay, that's pretty good. I can probably get by with this. Go ahead and Might. Regen. Trishula. Go. You can see this works pretty well. Actually going to take Dex. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a point of EV. So you can see that works pretty well. If you get the resist up, you can just hit the thing. I had no real AC to speak of. You just need a good weapon and possibly to be buffed. I had a backup plan if I started taking more damage. I switched up to RF3 because I didn't want to actually, I might have been no, because I just quaffed resist. Yeah. Why does it say? Ring of poison resistance. Oh, because of the telly ring. Ah. Thank you for the follow, Headless Odin. Hope you get your head back someday. Might want to check this out as long as I've got these spells. Oh, look at that. Got a Might Pot bat. That's pretty cool. Okay, this is a good set of stairs at least. Now, what's the rest of this level look like? So I guess theoretically I could look to take one of these others, but they're just not going to be as good because the downstairs are far away. Whereas this one's pretty nice. Yeah, statue form, I mean, if you're using UC, it's not that bad. I would prefer dragon form if I was going to use forms, because then you don't have to deal with the slowness issue. But statue form does work. It's just not great. I've done statue form with weapon on Octopode, and I was not too impressed by it. Slowing everything down just ends up causing all sorts of, because you're not really all that strong anyhow. It can how well it works probably depends a little bit, at least, on God choice, because if your Nemelex is really strong, if your deck supply is outstanding through most of the game, like I never found Faith on this character, so I don't have quite as many decks as I might normally. Or if you had, you know, something like Gozag, the right kind of character, it's definitely faster in real time. It's just sort of riskier overall. If you go UC, then it's decent, but if you're using a weapon, it's not really all that great. You don't get any more damage output. All you get is a bunch of AC, but at the cost of everything being slower, and it doesn't really help you all that much. You do get some more HP and you get some more AC, but it's like having all those other actions be slowed is really a drag. Okay, this is a nice area right here. Nobody saw me, which is interesting. Guess I actually do have stealth, don't I? Yeah. So I don't know what I will face if I move down. Everything's going to wake up. All these four things are going to wake up. I could go back up and try other stairs. It's not the worst idea because this fight is kind of complicated. The only thing is I don't get first action. But this is all a lot. This is a lot of stuff that's somewhat, you know, HP intensive, and there's a Quicksilver. Oh, I also can get trampled off the stairs, so it's not like I can make it back. Maybe we'll go up and see what the other stairs are like. That's not so amazing. A minimum number of orbs for a streak. Not sure what you're talking about, Disillusioned. You mean like you're just asking how many wins for a streak? It's a streak is just winning games in a row, so yeah, 2 is the minimum. 2 wins in a row. Oh, you're talking about runes. There's only one orb. The orb is what you get to win, and runes are the extra. You can get up to 15 runes. And yeah, for winning, most people just care about winning. They don't care how many runes you get. I mean, there are people who do 15 rune streaks. No, you need 3 to enter Zot. Zot requires that you have 3 runes. It doesn't care which 3 you have, it just wants you to have 3 of them. Sadly, I don't have anything like Ice Blast that could help me out there. That moth is going to berserk that golden dragon, unfortunately, which isn't great. But at this point, I've Okay, he died without managing to berserk the golden dragon, which is pretty cool. Nice kill, dude. Okay, it looks like the Evo manual did finish. Actually gonna get some charms. Mostly so I can get maybe a little bit more spell power in Alright, so now we're gonna go down. We're not gonna get the first turn, which could be a problem. I could go down in Viz, which isn't a bad play. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Okay. So yeah, this staircase ended up being... So that other staircase was not great either. I'm gonna go ahead and dig this way. Here's our boy, the Quicksilver. There's a T-Mons. Holy Wrath will kill him pretty fast. Just gonna zap him once. Corridors are nice. Go ahead and exclude this. Here's another Quicksilver. Basically just want to fight one thing at a time. Especially when it comes to things like Quicksilver dragons and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I never trained stealth on OP. Some people do like early game stealth if you've got like a really good aptitude, like +4. But honestly, like your starting stealth is pretty good, and I feel like it's basically much more effective to focus on damage. Yeah, I would disagree. I would say the opposite is true, that stealth is very overrated. There's a mindset that appreciates what stealth can do, and it is certainly a playstyle. But if your tactics are good, the problem with stealth is monster behavior is extremely unpredictable, and you cannot rely on what its behavior is going to be. That's the main problem I have with stealth. It's very nice if you are a fast-moving species that can run from stuff. I will say that. So Spriggans, it's really good. Vampires, because they have bat form. But it's just a very unreliable in general, it's a pretty unreliable mechanic. Stabbing damage that you get from stealth is very high damage, but it's not the most effective way to damage things either. But if you pair stabbing with like hexes, then it works. It's certainly a pretty good play style. But if you're actually looking to like streak wins, I don't recommend stealth. You feel you are being watched by something. Yeah, like I wouldn't. You know, there's the guy who's streaked like the 24 Naga Wanderers swears by early stealth for Nagas in particular. I mean, it's arguably more compelling with them. They do have the crazy apt, just like Octopode and the other species do, but they also do have slow movement. So they're kind of in this weird situation where they like are desperate for help. So that's, I think, the idea for training stealth or something like Octopode is like you can't really move, you can't really position your way out of a lot of problems. On the other hand, for stealth to be effective, you also need to be able to move, and they don't move very effectively. So if I were trying to streak Nagas, I also would not train stealth. But, you know, somebody was early on training stealth was able to win like, you know, 24 in a row or whatever. So some of it's going to come down to preference, because you probably don't really care, like, you know, that much about how optimal your style is. Like, you know, I do stabbing builds too, even though they're not, it makes more sense to just use hexes and use more conventional stuff other than like trying to stab with short blades necessarily, because hexes are so good. So even my games are not like, they're not like some notion of like it being optimal, but I definitely don't use stealth. I don't rely on anything that's not trying to be a stabber is what I'm trying to say. This guy. He's in my face. I could go invis and try to do stuff, but I could also just hit him. I'm in a pretty safe spot, so I'm probably just going to try that. Don't have a lot of might either. Uh-oh. Lag. 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 Go. Let me go check something out. Cool, looks good. Just a little lag spike. Yeah, I mean, if you get stealth for free, that's interesting. That's like if you have a ring of stealth and you don't have a stronger option, then it's true that it's a nice boost. But I'm talking about sort of spending XP for it. You know, unless you invest in enough to really get a lot of pips, that is not. Stealth doesn't get reliable until you put the XP into it. Then it also has the detriment of making your game really annoying. If one of the things you'll notice if you play games that have really high stealth pips is that a lot of combat becomes much more annoying because monsters will forget you while you're in Los and wander around and do unpredictable things that can actually be very dangerous. Because you no longer know what they're going to do. So that's also a thing. But yeah, if you get it for free, sure. It's just that usually if I'm going to choose between a ring of stealth that might give me a couple of pips of stealth or something and some other ring, like, I don't know, wizardry is a good example. If I'm casting spells, something like slaying or an AC ring or an EV ring, I would prefer those. But yeah, anything that you get for free is a lot more compelling than something that you have to dump a bunch of XP into. Yeah. Yeah, some people like to make noise. It's definitely looked down upon by the, you know, the high win rate streaked people because it gets back to that unpredictability. It's like you don't know what monster you're going to alert that's nearby that's going to decide to wander in because you made a bunch of noise that you didn't have to make. But all this should be said that, you know, probably when you sit down to play Crawl, you are looking to have fun and you're not looking to be like quote unquote 100% correct. You're looking to like have something that feels reasonably fun and oh, okay, so this guy, which way is this guy? Where are you? Okay. Spiders don't see invis. I could lightning rod, but it's probably not gonna. I'm gonna kill this guy before. Yeah, Disillusioned is very concerned by things not being 100% correct. Now, what I'm sort of saying is like, you know, keep in mind that you have to play Crawl and have fun, and that's going to influence what kind of things you like to do. I certainly do things that are not like fully optimal. Like I hate using ranged weapons, even though they're really, really, really good in this game. So I almost never use them. I don't find them fun in this game. Quicksilver dragons have been out in force. You know what? I gave you the opportunity. I don't know why I did that, because he's just going to dispel it. What do we do? Oh, I got my charms, huh? Get some more dodging. I'm probably not even going to get a point of EV for this. We'll just get 20. Ancient Rich! Boy, have I got to dispel undead for you, my friend. What is, no. Having a hard time getting through that 5 pips of MR, aren't you, my friend? Actually want this guy to walk closer. There we go. So I can just destroy him with my Dispel Undead. Dispel Undead, if you have any decent amount of spell power, is a really good spell. Oh, I should have been using that on the Death Cobs. I totally forgot. Kind of a dumb way to kill that guy, but you know what? Yeah, I mean, what I was talking about is is like being able to predict what's going to happen, and noise really throws a lot of that. Trying to make noise purposefully usually doesn't achieve anything that you couldn't achieve otherwise. Really, I find very, very few cases where like making noise is actually going to net you something super positive. That maybe it's more convenient, but that's about it. And on top of that, you're losing a lot of predictability. But yeah, there are definitely players who do like to purposely make it more than others. I'm in the elliptic school of thought that making noise on purpose is pretty bad. Okay, Mr. E-Golem. So using decks of destruction on this guy are kind of a pain because oh, that's right, he's insubstantial, isn't he? You never get it even with Kiku. Yeah, if you worship Kiku, you'll find Dispel Undead. Well, Gozag is legit the strongest god in the game. We really need to nerf that god. He is just the strongest god in the game. That's definitely on our itinerary. Like, you know, we don't want to nuke him, nerf him to the ground or anything, but he's a bit silly how good he is. Stronger than yeah, I think stronger than Trog. If you're setting out just to win, you know, free potion petition at the beginning, really strong effects throughout the game. I think the part that we want to nerf is just the very early game stuff, and probably the fact that he has no piety decay. That's what's on my list. But well, it's a thing where we talk with each other and sort of see where we could agree. They're actually, I mean, Gozag is reasonably fun to play. There are other gods like Fedas and Jiva where, well, I think Fedas first and foremost. That's probably the single god that most needs a rethink more than any other god, I guess. Jiva has some things that I don't like. Gozag's balance feels off. The ally gods, Byogu and Ured, they're ally gods in general are just a thing where, yeah, we'd like to rework them in various ways to make them kind of not so tedious to use, I guess. But Fedas is the one that we really want to fix. Yeah, Iggy, that's actually what we are planning to do, is probably remove the first potion petition. That way he's just not so ridiculous upon worship. The piety decay thing is another annoying aspect. That it does have an effect on the god's strength. I think the ability set overall is like fine. Like he's really strong. Even if we changed both of those things I mentioned, he would still be a very strong god. And maybe that is too strong for Crawl. But I think it's the early game stuff that we would like to tweak. So it's not going to be anything. A lot of people I've noticed are like, I don't even use Potion Petition. I even don't use the free one, which they should be using it. But if you pay attention to that stuff, it's kind of annoying to see Gozag and be like, oh, I shouldn't pass this god up. It's too good. Every single time. We kind of want to avoid a situation where one god, like early on, is just so vastly stronger than anything else that you feel like, I want to win this game, so that means I got to choose this god. It's a struggle though. There's so many gods in this game, and each of them definitely have things that you could reasonably argue are wrong with them. So I guess I've been Yeah, that is probably the simplest, straightforward change. I think we will probably take a look at the piety situation as well. I don't know that we would adjust the other stuff too much though. Just making him like have a form of piety decay that like decreases your gold very slowly would be good. He's really ridiculous if you pair it with Mummy, because mummies of course don't have to eat, and now you have a super strong god that doesn't have any piety decay. So mummies of Gozag are pretty funny. Mummies are still terrible, and there's much stronger characters of Gozag you could make, but you can do really weird stuff with Mummy of Gozag because you can rest forever with with nothing. So like 1/8 of all monsters generate awake on a new level. The floor monsters, there's floor monsters and vault monsters. You know, vaults will place monsters. So when we remove spawns, one of the changes we made was that there are no spawns, but we slightly increased the number of level monsters, and we made about, you know, 1/8 of them on, you know, it's on average. So it's not going to be literally 1/8 every time. It's just going to be a 1 in 8 chance for each level monster generates awake. So Mummy of Gozag can kind of sit on the stairs and rest, as long as it takes for those wandering monsters to come into stairs so it can more safely kill them. Thank you for the... I guess that was a follow, Floraline. Oh, Floraline, hey. Floraline is the admin who set up CKO, so if you've been using the new lag-free server, give Floraline your thanks.